marketing.
Okay, great. Well, again, very happy to be here with all of you. For those of you who may be joining us for the very first time, my name is Cheryl Cortese. I'm a National Marketing Director, and I think all of our titles now are, have different extensions to them. It's PMD, Presidential Marketing Director Plus. We're getting used to that. But National Marketing Director is really, the top position. And then after that, it's just a matter of your business growing. And we're in an amazing position right now. I don't think we've ever been more relevant. We've talked about that before. The marketplace has never been more receptive. We have the two things that I think everybody wakes up looking for at this point in time. And the first of all, of course, is paramount on everybody's mind, that they really need to be as healthy as possible, to have the healthiest immune system. And people have wanted that for as long as people have been around, to be really healthy, because as Joanna said, without your health, there is nothing else. And so it's very foundational to life in any way. And we know from everything we've heard and continue to hear that Juice Plus continues to perform and fill that gap between what we eat every day and what we wish we could possibly consume every day. And really the other thing, and we only have to look around and listen, and the news that comes to us, is that our country in so many places are struggling with how to financially financially secure themselves and have that, you might just say, again, I guess I'll use the same example, fill that gap between what they're earning and what they really need to have or want to have on a regular basis to create that security for themselves and their family. So we really come to the marketplace with everything, you might say, in place. And after so many years, Juice Plus at this point is 28 years old, and so many years of just consistent positive results and consistent, just success, just really huge success. So like so many, this was not going to be my career, I thought, and here 32 years later, a wonderful experience that only gets better all the time. Now, this evening, one of the things we had agreed last time that we would do is reach out to you all, and maybe this be a bit of a conversation between all of us as to what you would like to hear in these trainings, things that you feel like you may want to hear more of, just to more or less mastermind, put together a format. You might even want to have some of the other national marketing directors come and share with me or co-host on Thursday night. Our goal has been certainly, and all of you, I think, have come together with this intention that we continue to grow and expand and really look at the very basics of what our business has to offer, get really, really good at those few skills that really make this work, because you don't need to have huge skill in hundreds of things. It's just really good, consistent skill in a few things, 5, 7, 8 things. And we've talked about those things, telling the story, which this call does very, very effectively. Really helping your new team members identify their story and tell it simply and quickly, because the story is what it's all about. People look at it and they hear it. The story is really about the people who are going to hear it and identify with it. And it is the foundation, again, of your business. Events, we're all virtual events now, but those have been very effective. And I think that we're very blessed that we were already involved in virtual events as life changed so quickly. So I just wanted to ask and have, if any of you want to share with me, are there things that you would like in particular? We certainly are addressing the compensation plan. We'll continue to do that to make sure that you really get a feel for it. The great news is they pay you whether you understand it or not, as you share the product with others. But as you really grow up in your business, you want to have a good, working knowledge, and that will be ongoing with these trainings on Thursday night. But let me just ask if anybody has anything in particular, as we kind of put our thoughts together here, that you would like to hear, that you feel like would be important to you, so that we make sure that we cover them all. And then we'll do a bit of that, and then I have a few other things I wanted to share tonight. So anybody, any input for us as to anything? Because on my agenda was to talk about momentum and how that happens. And then the next thing after that was why qualify your business and how to qualify your business. So those two are already up, as well as the compensation plan coming up. But anything else that anybody would like to hear about, or train, or have training on, or have anyone else in our team come to share their thoughts with us as well. So somebody raise their hand. Just unmute yourself, I guess. Oh, do I have to unmute? I don't know.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
Hey, it's Erica in Oakland, and I have a new teammate on tonight, and she said that she has 5 minutes a day during the week to devote to her business. So I just wondered if you have anything you want to say about when you have 5 minutes a day, what would you do? What would Cheryl do? Because Cheryl knows a lot.
Well, this is what I found is that, I've never looked at this as, because I was teaching for the first year that I did this, and I was suddenly single with two small, well, they weren't small, they were middle school, but still that was very demanding, 2 children, and really pretty much by myself. So life was extremely demanding, and that's what I think I hear you saying, is that, for many people, and now especially so, which is really surprising. You think everybody sequestered at home would have more time, but instead there's so many more challenges. So I can understand that 5 minutes a day would feel like what you could contribute to it. But I think what I found, and what many people see, if you don't look at this as something that is separate and apart from your life, you might say, is ongoing, because we talk to people all through our day. We have conversations with people we obviously are close to on a regular basis. We have conversations with people that come and go, I guess you would say. If I look at the people who come and go at this point in life, it's usually someone delivering something at the house, or coming here for some reason. And so it's, and even I can think of 2 conversations I had today. One was with the insurance person that is they have to come and reevaluate for earthquake insurance. So we had a conversation about the state of the world, and then it led to a conversation about how is their family, are they concerned about how they're protecting their health. There was, just enough conversation for me to be able to say what I do and make the offer of the option. So I think the best thing to do would be, during that 5-minute time that you have, I would be mentally sitting there and physically writing out a list of the people that that you're probably going to come into contact with that week or that day, and then just let it flow. I hear often, one of my national marketing directors, she always says, you've always got your antennas up, listening for people's concerns, or their worries, or their fears, or their desires. What do they want for themselves? How is their job? The conversation today was me asking, well, how is your job going? How are things working out? Have things changed a lot for you? How's your family? Is there, are you as worried about this as so many people are? We all feel uncertain. So there was just enough conversation for us to get into a situation where I could offer what I have. Now, if you think about it, everybody, their baseline is they want good health and they want security. We need those things on an ongoing basis to have any quality of life. And so to be able to just weave it into your day, and that's what I would encourage her to do, is during the 5 minutes, make the list, have a little order of, where you want to go during that day or that week, so that it's on your mind when you do run into people and you just weave it in. It's not part-time, part-time. So that would be my suggestion there. Anybody else with anything that they would like to either have training on ongoing as we go through the next weeks and months, or something that you feel like you would like to hear about? Anybody?
Well, hi, this is Edie Howland. And two things that I encountered over the last couple of days were, one, a woman who's a busy practitioner in herbal medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, and she's eager about Juice Plus. She has become a representative, but she feels like she doesn't have time to tell her patients about it very much, and she doesn't want to do the program we have for professionals, but just some way for her to weave it in. I think she's a little bit challenged by wanting to tell them something thorough about it. And then the other question I had was, in the last couple of days, a family with cancer, and they're getting suggestions from so many people that they feel overwhelmed. It's a quite advanced cancer, just recently diagnosed. And I'm trying to convey to them how simple and foundational Juice Plus is. And they're trying it, but they do feel overwhelmed. So I can't give them, I feel like I don't know how to provide them with all the really substantial information we have about how Juice Plus is so supportive for a person with cancer.
Well, a couple of things there. One, and also I wanted to point out, Myrna had a good little suggestion there in the chat as far as sharing with people quickly and moving on quickly. Where the doctor is concerned, again, if the doctor is on the product, it's pretty simple to, have that person add to the conversation. All the things they're doing for the person, obviously, is to hopefully have the best outcome for their health, and to say that what they do for themselves is, and if they're comfortable with that being Juice Plus, because hopefully they are on Juice Plus. It's not really possible, I don't think, to encourage others if you're not experiencing it.
Yes, they are.
And so it would just be no more than, this is what I do for myself, my family. It's something you may want to really consider because it's very foundational. That word foundational, I think, is important because no matter what the person is consuming, what medications they're taking, what athletics they're involved in, from the healthiest to someone who's seriously ill, foundational means that you can have and do anything that you're doing for your body already, but this is only going to enhance it. So, if there's that little 30-second or 20-second conversation where then they pick up information as they go out, and that's where, when they're checking out, that's where the person that they check out with, that's where they really come into play as far as giving information. And then if it's somebody, Edie, that you are really going to have that's going to get some traction as far as customers, you may want to follow some of those customers or help them with that as she does it. But again, this is something else I found, is that you can't make anybody do anything, okay? People are going to choose to do what they decide to do. If the product they're impassioned about, they're going to find a way to share it. If they really feel like it's important for other people, they're going to find a way to share it. If they're in love with the idea of how this business model works, I mean, there's so many different, feelings that people have. Some, they really need the income, and so it makes sense. So they're going to pursue to remedy that pain that they have in their life, or they're really impassioned by the product. For both your doctor and the person who is dealing with the serious illness, I've always found if I could connect two people that are in a similar situation. The doctor may be with another doctor in our business that's been successful. If she wants to do something with it, she'll want to connect with someone who is in her profession, as similar as possible, and see how they have pursued it and what they've done. And that's the thing I would do also with the other person, is that obviously they're dealing with a lot of fear and a lot of just really serious concerns. And so if they're already on the product, that's what I would be trying to do. If you feel like you can help them more, it would be with somebody who's had a similar experience. That seems to work best for me always in these kind of situations. So, good. Anybody else?
Cheryl,
I have a question, Cheryl.
Suggestion for a training.
Okay, suggestion for a training. Is that Shire?
Yes, hi. I was walking past you and your group of freshman class at a conference one day. You were out in the lobby and had them all in their chairs. And I heard you say, and your first goal will be sales coordinator. And I loved that, because we always, we think little, the first goal as partner plus, so.
Well, don't think that way anymore. Okay.
No, yes, no, I mean,
No, you're right. But I know what you're saying. You're exactly right. And I didn't mean to be flippant about it, but I did, because we really, this is the thing for everybody. If you could hear me on this, we think too small. Everybody needs to think bigger. You're going to, the picture you have in your head is the picture you'll produce. So, think big, because everybody needs what we have. We have never been in a time, if we want to look at a golden time for what we have, the amount of good we can do, the amount of business that we can do. So don't think small. Partner plus, qualifying sales coordinator, those are just steps along the way to sales coordinator. And so definitely, I would give that a whole 30 minutes for sure, Shire, because I think, again, if we're going to have foundational as our main word tonight, okay, is the mindset, the business mindset, is that if you're going to really take this on as a business and create something that spans the globe, and you want to think of it as a worldwide business, then that doesn't mean that you're going to sign somebody up from every country in the first few weeks or the first few months. It's going to progress in that way, but if it's going to take a little more time than that. But if your mindset is that you're going to step on the world stage of big business, you can't do it playing small. And if Jeff Roberti ever shared something with me, or he really kind of beat it into my head, if you want to know the truth, because it was constantly, what he was talking about was, step into a big picture. This is a big picture. We can, that first week or two, it was like, we want this to be that wherever we show up in the world someday, they're going to know our names, because we have talked to people, who've talked to people, who've talked to people, and it's going to stretch out across the world. But that first thing you want to do is get that new person in position to have the best results. Now, when I start with somebody that's new, one of the first things I'm going to say is my responsibility is to get you a check that equals the effort and makes sense to the point that you would want to stay, and that this is something you would want to put more and more energy into. So that's one thing. Now, I can't really get a decent check unless I have a person in a position where they're going to get the highest return, which is sales coordinator. So it's steps along the way to get there is Partner Plus and qualifying sales coordinator. The other thing, and this, if you could, take this and just, is that people are going to come on your team. It's just the way it is. If, you see it in the activities that people do, they repeat those activities. If someone's really in love with the product, they tend to attract people who talk about the product first, if it's the business they in love with, or if they're going to tend to attract people who talk about the business first, they're going to duplicate whatever. So if you become the model, and that's this I'm going to say to my new person always, if you become the model that you want to see duplicated, people will do it. So whatever time and energy it takes for us to get you to sales coordinator as quickly as possible, let's do it, because it's your beginning story. And your story is your story for the rest of your life. I mean, in this career, my story is my story 32 years ago as it is today. How did it start? So, if you want to restart at any point, which means that, you're going to, wherever you are, if you're relatively new and you've been Partner Plus for a little while, well, let's just start today since you have this information and say, okay, from today, how fast can I go to sales coordinator so I can be the model? And then, but that's the way I'm going to pre-frame it with a new team member is, and again, this is very important too, is people need to be directed. I mean, I had no idea how this worked. I had a master's degree in child development and learning disabilities, and I was teaching on a university level, but this was Greek as far as I was concerned. And so I had to have good, clear direction. So when somebody says, well, what do you need from me, or how can I support you? They don't know how they're supposed to be supported. You have to be the one to draw the guidelines. And so the guidelines would be, we need to get you a check as soon as possible. If this is something they want to do as a business, that's going to make sense to you for the effort involved. And we need to create a model for everyone that follows you to see, as time goes on, that model is going to be very important. So, create that first step in my mind always is how quickly can I get that person to that sales coordinator position, because it's the top commission position. And that's where you're going to get the highest return for product sales. And then, of course, your team is going to be growing at that point, and you'll be setting yourself up to receive, all the monies that come along with this compensation plan. So that should be the first goal, because we all do the same thing, whether we're brand new or whether we're 32 years in doing this. We're telling the story, we're taking the order, we're putting our arms around as many people as possible to become team members. And so then you're stretching out to find those people who are going to help you stretch out through the world, and then they'll find people to help them stretch out through the world. So if we're all doing the same thing, we need to get paid at the highest level from a commission standpoint, and sales coordinator is going to do it. So Cheryl, I'll develop some more on that. Okay, that's a quick version. Okay.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
But we definitely will talk more about that, because that's, again, we're back to our word foundational today. That is foundational as far as building a business. And then doing that over and over and over with people is vital, as many new people as possible. So, of course, there's steps in there, and that's what would go into a training on that. And that definitely will be one, Shar. Thank you. Anybody else? Anything you would like to hear as far as training in any of these?
Mary Beth had her hand up. Do you have something, Mary Beth, to ask Cheryl? No?
Okay.
I saw her.
Cheryl, can you hear me?
I saw.
Hi, Cheryl. Oh,
Mary Beth.
I didn't know if you could.
Go ahead, Mary
Can you
Beth.
hear me, Cheryl?
I can hear
Okay. Okay, because I'm in a mountainous range. Hi, Cheryl. I just wondered, with getting to SC, I have a new person. With our incentives today, our bonuses, what do you suggest the person achieve if they're hungry for money and also for making a difference with health?
Wait, I didn't quite get that. They're already in SC, or they're going toward SC?
No. They're going for an SC, and with the current bonuses, what do you suggest they do to get the most bang out of their buck in the short amount of time?
Well, definitely they want as many team members as possible wide, because that's going to always ensure the biggest return. So effort into putting a lot of width. If you look at just the basic requirements and the bonuses to go into sales coordinator, that person is going to put about $4,500 in their pocket from, you know, let's say they do it. And my suggestion would be, let's get it done in that first 90 days. And that happens very readily in our business. And so in that first 90 days, if they go to sales coordinator, they're between bonuses and commissions, they're going to earn right at $5,000 because of the additional fast track bonus amount. So that would be a really good start. Now, if that becomes the story, that's something that is, you know, people will desire to duplicate, and that will continue to help them grow up the compensation plan. But width is the most important. Width and speed in the beginning. Again, now there are people who are going to start with your business who want to be, you might say, distributor customers. They want a discount on the product. They may not be, you know, crazed to start a big business right away or have that business mindset. Sometimes people grow into that. Sometimes they just remain distributor customers. But I would have a plan in place for sales coordinator in 90 days, pick up right at $5,000 in income cumulative between bonuses and commissions, and then having as many people wide. The thing is, if you can encourage someone to bring on a lot of width from the very beginning, people begin to be there's kind of a healthy competition that goes on, and they're vying for your time. And so they're more likely to move with a sense of urgency or a fear of loss because they want your time. And so if you know, that's usually the fastest way for someone to grow up through the plan is a lot of width. And then sales coordinator is the first goal, and hopefully in that 90-day period because of the monies they would pick up between the two. And of course, the other thing that would happen is we've been talking about the Comma Club, getting your check to a solid $1,000 a month aside from title bonuses. And that would ensure that as well, because a strong sales coordinator or a new qualifying a senior sales coordinator is that Comma Club money without titles or bonuses. Does that help you, Mary Beth?
Thank you, Cheryl. Yes.
Okay. So, but again, it's very important to realize people need direction. Most people come into our business. They may have had experiences in other companies in this profession, and maybe they were mediocre. Maybe they were good. Maybe they were not good. But usually when people don't do well in this profession, it's because they didn't have good, clear direction. So then that's why the stories are so important to inspire, but really clear directives on how a person should move through that compensation plan and the psychology or the reasoning behind it is very important, because if you're going to put a business in place, you want to do the activities that's going to get the results so that you not only build confidence, but belief, you know, and those things come along, confidence and belief come along with repetitive activity that, you know, you're hearing stories about product, you're hearing stories about business, that helps build belief. But that person going into action, putting their, you know, sponsor in front of people to tell the story as well, to help them tell the story, to acquire new team members, to be wide, and to get that story set in that first 90 days, you know, 120 days. It's very, it really does make a difference as far as the speed of it. And you'll hear this often in our profession, and it's true. It's easier to go fast than it is slow. One of the things I was going to talk about tonight was momentum, and that's a whole training in itself. So, you know, it's one that we'll put on the drawing board, you might say, for one of these next calls. But the thing about momentum is very, very important to successful outcomes. And momentum is a more elusive term. It's not, you know, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around what exactly is the definition of momentum. But you know when momentum's there, you feel it. I'm going to use Carol Turnbow as an example here. I hope she'll forgive me. I have not asked her permission, okay, but I'm going to. Carol, I've watched her in the short years I've known her really, have amazing results as far as the gym is concerned. And we see her now in competitions, and I'm so envious of all the strength and everything that she's acquired. But she's done that by consistent, repetitive activity. Am I right about that, Carol? Consistent, repetitive activity.
Yes.
And that consistent, repetitive activity has brought her amazing results in the training world, athletic world. But it's also consistent, repetitive activity has been very prevalent in her business. And so I'd like to use her as an example of how momentum happens. Momentum happens when you choose a strategy of action, a daily method of operation, you might say. Carol is very, very consistent with telling the story. She's very consistent with bringing on customers, and she does that regularly. She's very consistent with talking to people about the business, and she has brought on team members, and that she's always looking to add. Now, Carol, you went to qualifying senior sales coordinator, what, last month before?
Yeah, June. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
she just got that title. And today, her sponsor, Josh, and I were talking, and she's now she's right there at the threshold 2 months later of senior sales coordinator.
Right.
Now, what that is an example of cumulative activity that now has put her in a place where she has momentum. When you have momentum, it's going to be, you start moving faster and faster without added activity, I guess would be the way to say it, because you have that consistent activity in place. So, if you look at, and momentum, we're going to go through that thoroughly here in the next few weeks as well, either, next week or the following, and we'll break that down, because that can be very concrete. It can be a very, I guess you would say, a skill that you learn and you can activate. But she's a good example of it, because I look at Carol's efforts over the last, few years, and I guess it's been 3 years, Carol.
Yeah, actually in August it'll be 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a relatively new business, and it's not been a full-time business for her, but it's been very consistent. I think she's working in a doctor's office when you first started with us. Am I right about that?
I was, yeah.
And so, she's had a full-time job. She, is very committed to personal training. She has a family. She has a new grandbaby. Now she's just smiling her face off here. Okay, with the grandbaby. But she's been with doing her whole life, okay, and this not being her total full-time profession. She has been very consistent over this time. And so now she has acquired momentum. When momentum happens, but momentum was building with, the strategizing of consistent daily method of operation. And now as she goes up into these higher positions, it'll move faster and faster, because that foundation is strong with consistent activity. So, that really, where momentum is concerned, you're in control of your efforts. And you're the one who really designs your day, whether it's 5 minutes, as we were asked earlier, and you figure out, okay, this is that 5 minutes I'm going to think about who's going to be the target, as I walk through my day. And then you weave it in. Whatever your chosen strategy is, it's being really true to that strategy on a consistent basis. And then I know Carol's probably heard this from me, and we talk about it with all of our team all the time, is whether it's quickly or consistently, you want to go as wide as possible. And then if people see you do this consistent effort too, they will. And also helping people move into that sales coordinator position as quickly as possible to set the pace for their whole future. And you making that directive really clear, and it being something that you also want to present it as this is just normal. This is what most people do. You know, when I sit with someone, I'll say, this is what most people do. They go to sales coordinator. That's the first goal. Many people do that within a 90-day period. Not unrealistic at all. The other two positions are steps along the way. And this is going to put income in your pocket, and it's going to give you a model for others to follow your entire career. So if you know, as Jeff says, it's easier to go fast than it is slow, because then momentum kicks in because you're consistent with the activity. And then as you start growing up through the pay plan, it goes faster and faster if you don't break that momentum. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm already now 5 minutes or so over. So, but we've gotten some good input here tonight. We're definitely going to do training on, we'll do momentum and break that down and how you can be in total control of that. We're really going to get in depth on how to look at not only the philosophy of why you grow to sales coordinator, and that be the first goal, but the steps in place to do it. And, you know, really look at then why qualify your business as soon as you become a qualifying sales coordinator, and why qualify, period. Okay. But how important it would be for in those first 4 positions, as a person is moving through those first 4 positions, there are just things that are really make a difference as towards their whole future if they can be implemented. And also you have to realize that not everybody is going to follow a format that is going to be successful. They may play around with it for a while and then wake up one day and they're ready to go. So you can't be responsible for the outcome for anyone. You can only give the directive, and then the directive is either something that they engage in and get the job done, or, you know, as I say to people, we'll leave the light on for you whenever you're ready. You know, we're here. So it's really that balance between offering and being ready to go to work for someone and with someone who wants to have the outcome that they're expressing and they're willing to put the effort in to do it. And then not letting people distract you that are not really doing the activity. They're just talking about doing the activity. So that can be a fine line sometime, and one that is important to recognize as well. So we're right here at close of month, and everyone, we're having a great month. Again, we're very blessed as a company and as an organization that at this point in time in history, we have not only a wonderful thing for people, but we have a wonderful way for security to happen, not only for ourselves financially, but for all those we offer it to. So we want to really show up with the courage to make sure that we share it with everybody we come across, because I think it's an important responsibility at this time. And so I would encourage you to, you know, really help people here at the end of the month, everything they can possibly do to get the best results here. That's another thing we really want to train on, is how you work that PVC report during the month to make sure that as many people as possible are qualified, so that, you know, your teams have the best outcome. So that'll be on our agenda as well. But let's see if we can't make this just a record month, and here for it to be a summer month. You know, again, it's amazing. It's an amazing place to be right now. So it's always a pleasure for me to be with you all. Again, I apologize for being a little bit over time, but I think that it was important to get some input. It always gives me a feel of what, you know, to bring to the table so that everybody hopefully gets the best results. So, you know, if there are things that you want to hear about, or, you know, you definitely can send a little note to Missy. Missy's only been my assistant for 31 years now, and so we work well together. But just send her a note to cortesegroup@aol.com, and anything that you have suggestions that you would like to hear about for your team, or any of our other national marketing directors that you would like to hear come on and train with me during these Thursday nights. We certainly would be happy to arrange. Thank you for everything, and for the Thursday night, which really, we have to thank Carol for that, and Josh Duhan. They have put this on for some time now, and have really made a difference for all of us. So thank you much. Okay.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
That's
Thank you.